The great hall of the Galactic Council stretched wide like a metal ocean. Thousands of seats rose in circles around the central platform. Strange beings from across the galaxy filled those seats. Some had scales that shined like mirrors. Others had too many eyes or arms that bent the wrong way. A few looked like walking crystals that sang when they moved. Kiwu stood at the center platform. His black suit looked plain next to all the colorful aliens around him. He held a small device that showed pictures of Earth. Behind him, Sujin stood straight like a soldier. Her uniform had many medals, but the aliens did not care about human awards. Earth asks to join the advanced worlds, Kiwu said. His voice carried through the hall. We have built ships that cross space. We have learned to speak with other worlds. We are ready. A low hiss came from the reptile section. Zorth raised his long neck. His yellow eyes looked at Kiwu like a snake looking at a mouse. Earth, he said. The word came out like he was spitting. That little rock at the edge of nowhere. Clicks and buzzes filled the air. The insect people were talking fast to each other. Vashkri stood up on her 6 legs. Her big round eyes stared at the humans. Wait, she said. I know that world. It is in our danger files. More noise filled the hall. The crystal beings made sounds like bells ringing. The fish people gurgled in their water suits. Everyone seemed excited, but not in a good way. Thresh's crystal body flashed different colors as he spoke. Earth is marked as a death world in our records. Class 5 danger. The worst kind. Kiwu felt his face get hot. What do you mean, death world? Zorth pulled up a big screen that everyone could see. Earth appeared, blue and white and beautiful, but red warnings covered the image. Look at these numbers, Zorth said. The gravity is almost twice normal. The air pressure would crush most of us. The weather moves like a wild animal. Vashkri pointed at the screen with one of her thin arms. The water has poison salt in it. The ground shakes without warning. Fire comes up from under the rocks. How do you live on such a place? Sujin stepped forward. We call it home, she said simply. The hall filled with laughter. Not happy laughter, but the kind that makes you feel small. The crystal beings rang like broken glass. The fish people made choking sounds in their tanks. Even the quiet ones in the back were making noise. Home, Thresh sang. You call a death world home? Look at yourselves. You have thick bones like cave animals. Your muscles are too big for your size. You breathe poison gas and drink acid water. Zorth's screen changed. Now it showed human bodies from the inside. See? They have backup parts for their organs. 2 of some things. Extra thick skin. Blood that carries too much oxygen. These are not the signs of smart evolution. These are panic changes. Their world tried to kill them so much that they had to become monsters to live. More laughter. Kiwu looked around the hall. Every face looked down at him. Some with pity, some with disgust, some with fear. Their planet has storms that could destroy cities, Vashkri said. Ice that falls from the sky like rocks. Water that falls so hard it can kill. Lightning that could power our ships. And they live out in the open with no protection. A new voice spoke up. It came from the bird section. The speaker had bright feathers and a sharp beak. Perhaps they are simply too stupid to be afraid, she said. Fear keeps smart beings alive. These humans seem to lack proper survival instincts. Sujin's hands closed into fists. Kiwu saw her jaw get tight. But she said nothing. She was a good soldier. They fight each other constantly, Zorth went on. War after war after war. They make weapons to kill their own kind. What civilized race does such things? The ones that come from hell worlds, Thresh chimed. Violence is all they know. They cannot help it. It is in their nature. Kiwu tried to speak, but the noise was too loud. Everyone was talking at once. They shared stories about humans they had heard. Most of the stories were wrong, but nobody cared about the truth. I heard they eat the flesh of dead animals, one said. They put chemicals in their bodies for fun, said another. They jump out of flying machines for entertainment. They swim in the poison oceans. They climb the high mountains where the air is too thin to breathe. The stories got wilder and wilder. Soon they were saying humans fought barehanded against giant monsters and won. That humans could run for days without stopping. That humans healed from wounds that would kill other beings. Kiwu raised his voice. Stop, he shouted. The hall got quiet for a moment. You judge us without knowing us. You fear us because we are different. Different? Zorth laughed. You are not different. You are dangerous. Your world made you into living weapons. We cannot have such beings in our peaceful society. But we are not violent, Kiwu said. We have not attacked anyone. We come in peace. Peace? The bird creature fluffed her feathers. You bring warships to our meetings. Your companion wears the clothes of a killer. How is this peace? Sujin spoke for the first time since they started. Her voice was calm and cold. These are dress uniforms. I am a diplomat now, not a soldier. Once a warrior, always a warrior, Thresh sang. It is written in your genes. Your world made sure of that. The mockery went on for hours. Every race took turns explaining why humans could never join civilized society. They were too violent, too dangerous, too primitive, too different. Some of the aliens seemed scared. They whispered about what humans might do if they got angry. Others just seemed disgusted, like humans were dirty animals that had wandered into a clean house. Finally, the council leader spoke. She was from the oldest race, the ones who built the first starships. Her voice was tired and sad. Earth's request is denied. Perhaps in 1,000 years, when you have evolved past your violent nature, you may try again. Kiwu felt something break inside his chest. All the years of work, all the hope, all the dreams of humanity joining the galaxy as equals, gone. But then he heard something else in the leader's voice. Fear. They were not just rejecting humans. They were afraid of humans. Afraid of what Earth had made them. Sujin stepped up beside him. She whispered in his ear, They think they know us. Maybe it is time they learned who we really are. Kiwu looked up at the thousands of alien faces staring down at him. An idea began to grow in his mind. A dangerous idea. A human idea. You want to know what Earth is really like? He said. His voice carried to every corner of the hall. You want to see what a Deathworld looks like? Come and visit. See for yourselves how primitive we really are. The hall went silent, completely silent. Even the crystal beings stopped singing. Zorth's eyes went wide. You invite us to your Deathworld? I do, Kiwu said. Come as our guests. See Earth with your own eyes. Meet our people. Walk on our ground. Breathe our air, if you can. The silence stretched on and on. Finally, Zorth began to laugh. Not the mocking laugh from before. This was different. Excited. Mean. A diplomatic mission to Earth, he said. How wonderful. How educational. We accept your invitation, human. It will be interesting to see how long we can survive on your little hell world. The hall filled with laughter again, but this time Kiwu smiled too. They had no idea what they had just agreed to. None of them did. The big ship came down through Earth's sky like a falling star. It was beautiful and strange, made of metal that changed colors in the light. The aliens had built it to carry important people in comfort. Soft beds, clean air, perfect temperature control. Everything their delicate bodies needed to stay safe. Yunsik watched the ship land from his office window in Seoul. He was in charge of keeping Earth safe, and right now 50 aliens were coming to judge his world. He spoke into his communication device. All teams, they are here. Remember, be helpful, but let them see what normal life looks like. The ship's door opened with a soft sound. White mist poured out as the inside air mixed with Earth's atmosphere. The aliens came out slowly, like they were walking into a fire. Each one wore a thick environmental suit that covered their whole body. Zorth was first. His suit beeped and flashed with warning lights. The air composition is all wrong, he said. His voice came through a speaker on his suit. Too much oxygen, too much water vapor. The pressure readings are off the scale. Behind him, Vashikri's 6 legs shook as she walked. Her suit was bigger than the others to fit her insect body. The gravity is crushing me, she said. How do the humans move so easily in this? Thresh came out last. His crystal body was completely covered in a special protective shell. When he spoke, it sounded like music played underwater. The electromagnetic readings are chaotic. This world's magnetic field is far too active. It could damage our equipment. Minho walked up to meet them. He wore simple clothes and carried a heavy bag full of their equipment. The bag would have been too heavy for any of the aliens to lift, but Minho swung it over his shoulder like it was nothing. Welcome to Earth, he said with a big smile. I hope you enjoy your stay. The weather is nice today. The aliens looked around. The sky was blue with white clouds. The sun was shining. A light breeze moved through the trees. To them, it looked like a pretty day. Their suits told them different. Every sensor was screaming warnings. This is nice weather? Vashkri asked. She checked her readings again. My instruments show dangerous radiation from that star. The atmospheric pressure is in the red zone. The humidity could damage our breathing systems. Oh, this is perfect weather, Minho said. He was not wearing any protection at all. Wait until you see what real weather looks like. They started walking toward the city. The aliens moved slowly and carefully. Each step seemed hard for them. Minho walked beside them like he was taking a slow walk in a park. He was not even breathing hard, and he was carrying all their heavy things. The buildings, Thresh chimed. They are so solid. Heavy. Why do you make them so thick? Minho looked at the normal Sol buildings around them. Earthquakes, he said simply. Typhoons. Snow loads. They need to be strong enough to not fall down when the ground shakes or the wind blows. Your ground shakes? Zorth's voice went higher. Regularly? Sure, just little ones most of the time. The big ones are not so bad if you build right. The aliens stopped walking. They looked at each other through their helmet windows. Little earthquakes? Not so bad. They kept walking. Soon they saw normal people going about their day. Humans walked fast on the sidewalks. They carried heavy things. They talked and laughed. Children ran and played. Old people sat on benches in the sun. They have no protection, Vashkri whispered. Look at them. The radiation from your star should be cooking their skin. The atmospheric pressure should be crushing them. The gravity should make them unable to move. But they act like nothing is wrong. A group of school children ran past. They were laughing and chasing each other. One little girl tripped and fell down. She got up, brushed off her knee, and kept running. She did not even seem to notice the small cut that was bleeding. Did you see that? Thresh rang with shock. The small human was damaged, but it did not stop moving. It did not call for medical help. It just continued. Kids are tough, Minho said. They heal fast. Tough? Zorth repeated the word like it was foreign. Children should be protected, kept safe. Not allowed to damage themselves. How else will they learn? Minho asked. Pain teaches you not to make the same mistake again. The aliens were quiet after that. They watched humans do normal things that seemed impossible to them. A woman carried 2 heavy grocery bags. A man rode a bicycle up a steep hill. Workers built a new building with their bare hands, lifting heavy pieces of metal and stone. Then the weather changed. Dark clouds moved in from the west. The wind picked up. The air felt heavy and wet. Minho looked up at the sky and nodded. Good timing, he said. You'll get to see a real Sol summer storm. The first drops of rain were big and heavy. The aliens' environmental suits started beeping faster. Water is falling from the sky, Vashkri said. Large amounts of water. This cannot be normal. It's just rain, Minho said. He pulled out an umbrella. You might want to find shelter. Your suits don't look waterproof. The rain got harder. Soon it was pouring down like someone was emptying giant buckets from the sky. The aliens huddled together, their suits sparking and beeping with warnings. The humans around them just pulled out umbrellas or put on light jackets. Some of them kept walking like nothing was happening. Then the lightning started. The first flash lit up the whole sky. The thunder that followed was so loud it shook the windows of nearby buildings. The alien suits went crazy with alarms. Some of them fell down from the shock of the noise. Electrical discharge, Thresh screamed. Massive electrical discharge. We need to evacuate immediately. It's just thunder, Minho said. He had to speak louder over the sound of the rain. The lightning is still far away, see? You count the seconds between the flash and the sound. That tells you how far away it is. Another flash, closer this time. The thunder came faster and louder. Zorth was making scared sounds inside his suit. This weather is trying to kill us. Your atmosphere is attacking us with electricity. Actually, this is pretty mild, Minho said. He checked his phone. The real storm will get here in about an hour. This is just the warm-up, real storm? Vashkri's voice was very small. This is not the real storm? Oh no, this is nothing. Wait until you see what a typhoon looks like. The aliens looked at each other in horror. Around them, humans went about their business. Some people were annoyed about getting wet, but nobody seemed scared. Children splashed in puddles. Couples shared umbrellas and laughed. Street vendors covered their goods and kept selling food. They are not afraid, Thresh chimed weakly. The humans are not afraid of the sky attacking them. Why would we be? Minho asked. It's just weather. This happens all the time. By the time they reached their hotel, 3 of the aliens needed medical attention. The combination of gravity, Atmospheric pressure and electromagnetic activity from the storm had overwhelmed their systems. Their environmental suits were damaged and barely working. Yunji met them at the hotel entrance. She was a doctor who specialized in treating aliens. She had prepared a special medical room with life support systems for different species. "How are you feeling?" she asked as she checked their vital signs. "Your world is trying to kill us," Zorth gasped. His scales had lost their shiny color. "Everything here is hostile. The air, the water, the light from your star, the pressure, the gravity, even the weather." "Really?" Yunji looked surprised. "This is a pretty calm day for Seoul. No earthquakes, no heavy winds, just a little rain. I was worried it might be boring for you." The alien stared at her. Boring? This nightmare day was boring to humans? Outside, the rain kept falling. Thunder rolled across the sky. Lightning flashed in the distance. And somewhere in the city, Hyunsik was getting reports from his teams. "Sir," one of his assistants said, "the aliens are in medical distress from normal weather. Should we cancel the rest of their visit?" Hyunsik looked out at the storm. His 5-year-old daughter was playing in the next room, not bothered by the thunder at all. "No," he said. "They wanted to see what Earth is really like. Let's show them." The real test was just beginning. Dion looked at his group of alien visitors and tried not to smile. They were all wearing new environmental suits, bigger and stronger than the ones that broke in yesterday's storm. The suits made them look like walking metal balloons. Each alien moved slowly and carefully, like they were walking on broken glass. "Today we visit Jirisan National Park," Do-yeon said cheerfully. "It is one of our most beautiful places. Very peaceful. Just a short walk through the forest to see some local animals." The aliens looked at each other through their helmet windows. After yesterday's storm, they were afraid of everything on Earth. But they had come too far to give up now. They needed to prove that humans were primitive and dangerous. A walk in the forest should be safe enough. Do-yeon led them up a gentle mountain path. To him, it was an easy walk. He carried a large backpack full of supplies and moved like he was dancing. The aliens struggled behind him. Even with their powered suits helping them move, the gravity and rough ground made every step hard work. "The plant life here is very aggressive," Vashkri observed. Vines and bushes grew thick along the path. "It seems to be trying to take over everything." "Plants grow fast here," Do-yeon agreed. "Lots of rain and good soil. We have to cut the paths clear every few weeks or the forest takes them back." Zorth was breathing hard inside his suit. The air recycler was working overtime to keep up with his panic. "This wilderness is completely uncontrolled. On civilized worlds, we manage nature properly, keep it neat and safe." "Oh, this is managed," Do-yeon said. "We keep the dangerous stuff away from the main paths. The really wild areas are deeper in the mountains." "Really wild areas?" Thresh's crystal form vibrated with fear. "This is not wild." "Not really. This is more like our backyard. City people come here for picnics." The path wound up through tall trees. Strange sounds came from the forest around them. Bird calls that sounded like screaming. Rustling in the bushes that could be anything. Water running somewhere they could not see. Then they saw their first Korean black bear. The bear was not very big as earth animals go. About the size of a large human, covered in thick black fur. It was sitting by the path eating berries from a bush. When it saw the group coming, it looked up with mild interest. The aliens froze in terror. "Predator!" Zorth screamed. His suit's emergency systems activated. Bright lights flashed and loud alarms went off. "Massive predator. Call for evacuation!" The other aliens panicked too. Vashkri fell over backward and could not get up. Thresh was making sounds like breaking glass. Several others activated their emergency beacons, sending distress signals to their ship in orbit. The bear looked at all the noise and flashing lights with confusion. It tilted its head to one side like a curious dog. "Hey there, Bongsu," Do-yeon said calmly. He pulled some fish from his backpack. "Want a snack?" The bear made a happy grunting sound and walked over. It took the fish gently from Do-yeon's hand and sat down to eat it. Its big brown eyes looked friendly and peaceful. You know this monster?" Zorth whispered. His voice was shaking with fear. "Bongsu? He's not a monster. He's just a bear. Lives around here. Very gentle. Never hurt anybody. It is a massive killing machine," Vashkri said from where she lay on her back. "Look at those claws. Those teeth. It could tear us apart." "Bongsu wouldn't hurt anyone," Do-yeon said. He scratched behind the bear's ears. Bongsu made happy rumbling sounds. He's a vegetarian mostly. Eats fish sometimes. Very peaceful, Thresh chimed in disbelief. It is a wild predator. Uncontrolled. Dangerous! Actually, the really dangerous ones live higher up the mountain. Brown bears, much bigger. And there are wild boars up there too. Now those can be mean if you bother them. The aliens made sounds of horror. Bigger predators? Even more dangerous animals? What kind of nightmare world was this? Bongsu finished his fish and wandered back into the forest. He moved quietly for such a big animal, disappearing into the trees like a shadow. It left, Zorth said. Why did it not attack us? Why would he? You're not food and you're not threatening him. Bears are pretty smart. They don't waste energy fighting when they don't need to. The group moved on, but the aliens were jumpy now. Every sound made them panic. Every shadow might be another monster. Duyan tried to calm them down by explaining about the local wildlife. This made things worse. We have about 40 species of snakes in Korea, he said helpfully. Only 7 are dangerous to humans. And maybe 30 species of spiders. Most are harmless. Snakes? Vashkri screeched. Venomous snakes? Just a few. And they usually hide from people. You're more likely to get hurt by bees. That was when the hornets found them. Korean hornets are big insects about the size of a human thumb. They have bright yellow and black stripes and wings that buzz loudly when they fly. A small group of them had caught the scent of the strange aliens and came to investigate. The first hornet appeared from nowhere, hovering near Zorth's helmet. It was just curious, trying to figure out what these weird metal creatures were. But to Zorth, it looked like a flying nightmare. Giant killer insects, he screamed. We're under attack. More hornets arrived, drawn by the noise and movement. Soon a dozen of them were flying around the panicking aliens. The insects were not aggressive, just curious, but their loud buzzing and large size sent the visitors into complete hysteria. Vashkri was especially terrified. Even though she was an insect herself, Earth's hornets were much larger than anything on her world. She made high-pitched clicking sounds of pure terror. They're going to sting us to death, she wailed. Giant poison insects, help! 3 aliens fainted inside their environmental suits. Their automated life support systems kicked in. But the suits were not designed for this level of panic. Warning lights flashed everywhere. Duyan waved his hands gently and the hornets flew away. They had satisfied their curiosity and found nothing interesting about the metal-covered visitors. Sorry about that, Doyan said. Hornets are curious about new things. They weren't going to hurt you. Not going to hurt us? Thresh's crystal body was flashing red with stress. Those were enormous killer insects. Those weren't even the big ones. The murder hornets up north are twice that size. But don't worry, they don't come down this far south very often. By now, So-Young had arrived with the emergency medical team. She was a doctor who specialized in treating alien panic attacks. Half the delegation was in medical crisis from fear and stress. Elevated heart rates, hyperventilation, complete system overload, she reported as she checked their vital signs. They're having breakdowns from seeing normal Korean wildlife. Should we take them back to the city? Tuyun asked. Let's set up camp here for the night, So-Young decided. They need time to recover, and moving them now might make things worse. That was a mistake. Jae-min and his team quickly set up a camp with shelters and cooking equipment. They worked efficiently and quietly, making a safe space for their terrified guests. But as the sun went down, new sounds came from the forest. Night sounds, owls hooted in the darkness. Small animals rustled through the leaves. Somewhere in the distance, a wild boar grunted and snorted. Water dripped from the trees. The wind moved through the branches with a sound like whispers. The aliens huddled together in their shelters, listening to every sound with growing terror. Their suits' sensors told them that dozens of life forms moved in the darkness around them. Unknown creatures making unknown sounds. What was that? Zorth whispered when an owl called nearby. Just an owl, Jaemin said. Night hunter. They eat mice and small things? Night hunter? Vashkri's voice was very small. There are predators that hunt in the darkness? Oh sure, lots of animals are nocturnal. Foxes, badgers, wildcats, bats. The forest is actually more active at night than during the day. The aliens made sounds of despair. More predators. The forest was full of hunters that moved in the darkness when they could not see them. How did humans survive in such a place? Please, Thresh chimed weakly. Take us back to your city. This wilderness is too dangerous. We cannot survive here. Actually, Jaemin said, checking his weather monitor, we might have a problem. There's a typhoon coming up from the south. The roads might not be safe for travel. Typhoon? Zorth's voice went very high. What is a typhoon? Jamin looked at the weather data on his device. The storm was bigger than expected and moving faster. Big storm. Lots of wind and rain. Don't worry, we're in a good spot here. The trees will protect us from most of it. The alien stared at him in horror. A big storm was coming and he thought trees would protect them? On their world, storms meant emergency shelters and evacuation procedures. Here, humans just planned to wait it out in the open. Outside their shelters, the forest sounds continued. Unknown creatures moved in the darkness. The wind was getting stronger, and the first drops of rain were starting to fall. The nightmare was just beginning. The wind came first. It started as a whisper through the trees, then grew into a howl that made the whole forest move like a living thing. The typhoon was still hours away, but its breath was already reaching them. Jung-min stood outside the camp shelters, watching the weather readings on his device. As Earth's emergency response chief, he had seen many storms. This one was going to be bad, but not dangerous if you knew what to do. Inside their emergency shelters, the aliens were in complete panic. Their environmental suits beeped with constant warnings. The wind speed was already higher than anything they considered safe. Their ship's captain, a proud fish-like being named Kextor, was refusing to land in the storm. Impossible. Kextor's voice came through their communication system. Wind speeds are too high. Electromagnetic activity is off the charts. Lightning is constant. I will not risk my ship in these conditions. How long until the storm passes? Zorth asked. His voice shook with fear. Maybe 2 days, Jung-min said calmly. Don't worry, we have plenty of supplies. 2 days? Vashkri screamed. We have to survive in this hellish weather for 2 days? It's just a typhoon, Jung-min said. Not even a big one. Category 2, maybe 3 at most. We get these every year. The aliens could not believe what they were hearing. Every year? Humans dealt with storms like this every year. The rain started falling harder. Each drop hit like a small stone. The sound on their shelter roofs was like constant hammering. Through the plastic windows they could see trees bending in the wind. Leaves and small branches flew through the air like missiles. The vegetation is being destroyed, Thresh chimed weakly. Your entire forest ecosystem is under attack. The trees will be fine, Jung-min said. He was setting up a cooking stove inside the main shelter. They've been dealing with typhoons for millions of years. They know how to bend without breaking. Outside, the wind was getting stronger. It made a sound like a giant monster roaring. Lightning flashed constantly now, turning the dark forest bright white for split seconds. Thunder crashed so loud it shook the ground. The aliens' equipment was failing. Their environmental suits were not designed for this level of electromagnetic interference. Several suits had already shut down completely, leaving their occupants breathing Earth's poisonous atmosphere directly. We're going to die. Zorth gasped. He had taken off his broken helmet and was breathing the humid forest air. The atmospheric composition is all wrong. The pressure changes from this storm will crush our internal organs. You're breathing fine, Jung-min observed. Earth air isn't that different from what you're used to. Just a little more oxygen. A little more? Vashkri had also removed her helmet. These oxygen levels would be toxic on most worlds. Really? Huh. Well, you seem okay so far. Jung-min started cooking dinner on his portable stove. The smell of Korean stew filled the shelter. Despite their terror, some of the aliens found the smell interesting. On their worlds, food was usually bland and nutritionally balanced. This smelled rich and complex. You're cooking? Thresh asked in disbelief. In the middle of a disaster? People still need to eat, Jung-min said. Besides, hot food helps keep your spirits up during bad weather. Hee-won arrived with the evening supply check. She was a scientist who studied alien biology, and she had been monitoring the visitor's condition. What she found was very interesting. Your vital signs are actually improving, she told the aliens. Heart rates are down, breathing is more regular. Your bodies are adapting to our atmosphere better than expected. Adapting? Zorth touched his throat. That's impossible. We can't adapt to alien environments that quickly. Maybe not on your worlds, Hee-won said, but Earth's environment forces rapid adaptation. Everything here has to be flexible to survive. Outside, the storm was reaching its full power. The wind was screaming through the trees at over 100 kilometers per hour. Rain fell so hard it looked like solid walls of water. Lightning struck constantly, lighting up the forest in rapid flashes of white and blue. The aliens watched in horror through the windows. Trees that had stood for centuries were bending almost to the ground. The small stream near their camp had become a rushing river. Rocks and debris flew through the air like weapons. "This is impossible," Vashkri whispered. "No life could survive in conditions like this. Your world is literally trying to kill everything on it." "And yet here we are," Youngmin said. He was calmly eating his stew while the world exploded around them. "Humans have lived through millions of storms like this. We're still here, but how?" Thresh's crystal form was barely glowing now, dimmed by shock and exhaustion. "How do you survive when your own planet attacks you?" "We adapt," Haiwan said simply. "That's what life does on Earth. Everything here learns to survive anything the planet throws at us. Or it dies out. But this is not normal," Zorth protested. "Civilized planets don't have weather like this. They don't have predators that hunt in the night. They don't have poisonous insects and dangerous animals everywhere." "Maybe that's the problem," Youngmin said quietly. The aliens looked at him. "Problem? Your worlds are too safe, too controlled. You never had to develop real survival skills because you never needed them. You've been living in a protected bubble. Protection is the mark of civilization," Vashkri said. "We control our environments. We eliminate dangers. We create safety. And what happens when you face something you can't control?" Haiwan asked. The aliens fell silent. Around them, the storm raged with impossible fury. Lightning struck a tree nearby, splitting it in half with a crack like thunder. The pieces crashed to the ground, missing their shelter by just a few meters. The humans didn't even flinch. "You're not afraid," Thresh observed with wonder. "Your world is trying to kill you and you're not afraid." "Why should we be?" Youngmin asked. "This is just weather. It's not personal. The storm doesn't hate us. It's just doing what storms do. But you could die. We could die crossing the street in the city. We could die eating the wrong food. We could die from a million different things every day. Fear of death would paralyze us." Sang-hoon arrived with the evening report. He was soaked from head to toe but seemed cheerful. "Roads are washed out," he announced. "Bridge over the river is underwater. We're stuck here until the storm passes." "This is a disaster," Zorth moaned. "This is Tuesday," Sang-hoon corrected. "Want some tea? I brought thermoses." He poured hot tea for everyone, humans and aliens alike. The warm liquid seemed to calm the aliens a little. They sat quietly listening to the storm and watching the humans go about their business like nothing unusual was happening. "How?" Vashkri asked finally. "How do you stay so calm when everything is chaos?" "Because chaos is normal," Youngmin said. "Order is the unusual thing. Most of the universe is chaos. We just learn to surf it instead of fighting it." "Surf it?" "Ride the wave instead of being crushed by it. Use the storm's energy instead of being destroyed by it. Work with the chaos instead of against it." Outside, a massive tree fell across the path they had walked earlier. It hit the ground with a crash that shook their shelter. The aliens cringed in terror. The humans just noted that they would need to clear the path tomorrow. "You're insane," Thresh chimed weakly. "Your entire species is insane." "Maybe," Haiwan agreed. "But we're alive. And we're here. And tomorrow, when this storm is over, we'll still be here. But at what cost? Look what this world has done to you. You've become so used to danger that you don't even recognize it anymore." "Or maybe," Youngmin said softly, "we've become so strong that what you call impossible dangers are just part of life to us." The aliens thought about this as the storm raged on. They were starting to understand something terrible and wonderful. The humans weren't primitive because they came from a death world. They were terrifyingly advanced because of it. Every challenge that would destroy other species had made humans stronger. Every disaster that would wipe out civilizations had taught humans new ways to survive. Every impossible situation had become just another day on Earth. The storm continued through the night, but inside the shelter, the aliens were quiet. They were beginning to realize that they had not come to judge primitives. They had come to meet the products of the universe's harshest training ground, and tomorrow, they would have to face what that really meant. The storm ended as suddenly as it had begun. One moment the world was chaos and fury, the next it was peaceful and quiet. Birds began singing again. Sunlight broke through the clouds. The forest looked washed and clean, like it had just taken a bath. Youngmin stepped outside and breathed the fresh air. "Beautiful morning," he said. Around him, his team was already working. They cleared fallen branches, checked the equipment, and prepared breakfast. They moved with calm efficiency, like the terrible storm had been nothing more than a brief interruption. Inside the shelter, the aliens were in much worse condition. Only 37 of the original 50 visitors were still conscious. The others had collapsed from stress and exhaustion. Their environmental suits were broken or failing. Most had given up wearing them at all. Zorth sat in the corner, staring at nothing. His proud scales were dull and gray. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. "I don't understand. How are you also normal?" "Normal?" Jung-min looked confused. "What do you mean?" "The storm. Last night. It was. It was like the end of the world. But you cooked dinner. You made tea. You acted like it was nothing." "It was nothing," Jung-min said. "Just a storm. Actually pretty mild for a typhoon. The really big ones are much worse." Vashkri made a sound like crying. "Much worse? That nightmare was mild?" "Category 2, maybe weak Category 3. The big ones hit Category 5. Those can knock down buildings and reshape coastlines." The aliens looked at each other in horror. "Stronger storms? How is that possible?" "Your people," Thresh chimed weakly. "They live through storms that could destroy our cities, and they call them mild. Cities get hit by typhoons all the time," Jung-min said. "Seoul, Tokyo, Hong Kong. Millions of people just wait it out and clean up afterward. It's part of life here." Hye-Wan was checking on the aliens' health. What she found was disturbing, but not in the way she expected. "Your bodies are changing," she told them, "adapting to our environment faster than should be possible." "What do you mean?" Zorth asked. "Your bone density is increasing, your muscle mass is growing, your cardiovascular systems are becoming more efficient. 3 days on Earth and you're already becoming more like us." The aliens stared at her. "That's impossible. Not on Earth. Life here adapts fast or it dies. Your bodies are responding to the environment the same way ours did, millions of years ago. The difference is, we had generations to adapt slowly. You're doing it in days." "But we're not human," Vashkri protested. "We're completely different species." "Life is life," Hye-Wan said. "The same pressures create the same solutions, even in different species. Earth doesn't care where you came from. If you want to survive here, you follow the same rules." The rescue ship finally arrived 2 days later. Kexter landed carefully in the clearing, his ship's sensors still screaming warnings about the hostile environment. He emerged wearing the most advanced environmental protection his people could build. "I came as soon as the electromagnetic storms cleared," he said. "How many survivors?" 37 conscious, 13 in medical care," Jung-min reported. "No deaths." "No deaths?" Kextor was amazed. "But the planetary conditions, the storm readings, how did anyone survive?" "We had help," Zorth said quietly. He stood up slowly, like an old man. "The humans, they kept us alive." The trip back to the Galactic Council was quiet. The alien survivors huddled together, talking in whispers. They were different now, changed. The 3 days on Earth had broken something in them, but also built something new. When they arrived at the council chambers, word of their experience had already spread. Representatives from hundreds of worlds filled the Great Hall. Everyone wanted to hear what had really happened on the human Deathworld. Zorth spoke first. His voice was stronger now, but there was something different in it. Respect, fear, understanding. "We went to Earth to prove that humans were primitive," he began. "We wanted to show that Deathworld origins made them unfit for civilized society. We were wrong." The hall was silent. Every being listened carefully. "They do not call their disasters by technical names," Zorth continued. "They have casual words for things that would end civilizations. Earthquake weather, monsoon season, just a little typhoon. What we call catastrophes they call Tuesday." Vashkri stood up next. Her movements were different now, more fluid and strong. Their children play in conditions that would kill trained soldiers from our worlds. Their elderly sit outside in radiation that should be lethal. Their buildings are built to survive forces that would level our cities. But it's not just survival, Thresh chimed. His crystal form was brighter now, more complex. They don't just endure their world's attempts to kill them. They thrive in it. They turn disasters into opportunities. They make hell into a garden. The hall buzzed with nervous conversation. This was not what anyone had expected to hear. What about their violence? Called out a representative from the bird worlds. Their constant warfare, their weapons. Zorth laughed, but it was not a happy sound. Violence? They are the most peaceful beings I have ever met. They have no need for violence because nothing threatens them. What we call weapons, they call tools. What we call warfare, they call disagreement. But they fight each other. Children fight each other, Vashkri said. It's how they learn. Adult humans have learned that cooperation works better than conflict. They fight their world, not each other. More questions came from the crowd, but the answers were all the same. Everything the council had thought about humans was wrong. They were not primitive. They were not violent. They were not dangerous. They were terrifyingly advanced. Back on Earth, Tejo read the reports from the council meeting. As the new director of galactic relations, he had to decide how humanity would respond to what had happened. Sujin, now promoted to admiral, sat across from his desk. 17 different worlds have requested defense agreements, she reported. 23 want to hire human security consultants. 41 have asked for disaster response training. And the council? They passed our application for advanced civilization status, unanimously, no debate. Tejo leaned back in his chair. Through his window he could see Seoul going about its normal business. Children walking to school, workers building new buildings, people living their ordinary lives on their extraordinary world. They finally understand, he said. Understand what? That we're not the primitive ones. We never were. Na Yun was preparing for her first speech as Earth's new galactic senator. She had been chosen because she was calm, diplomatic, and good at explaining complicated things in simple words. Today, she would address the full council for the first time. Her speech was short and direct. You mocked Earth for being a death world. You thought it made us weak and primitive. You were wrong on both counts. Our world did not make us weak. It made us strong. Every day of our lives, we faced challenges that would destroy other civilizations. We learned to see solutions where you see only problems. We learned to find opportunities where you see only disasters. You called us primitive because we come from a harsh world. But primitives do not survive what we have survived. Primitives do not thrive where we have thrived. Primitives do not turn a planet that tries to kill them into a home they love. We are not primitive. We are what advanced civilizations become when they face real challenges for millions of years. We are what you could have been if your worlds had taught you the lessons ours taught us. Earth did not make us violent. It made us strong. It did not make us savage. It made us adaptable. It did not make us dangerous to you. It made us dangerous to anything that threatens what we protect. You want our friendship because you finally understand what we are. We are the children of a world that never stopped testing us. We are the graduates of the universe's hardest school. We are proof that life does not just survive in the harshest places. It conquers them. The speech was broadcast across the galaxy. On thousands of worlds, billions of beings heard humanity's first official words to galactic civilization. The age of human influence had begun. Not through conquest or threat, but through the simple, undeniable truth that while other species had evolved on garden worlds, humanity had been forged in the furnace of a planet that demanded excellence, and they had not disappointed it. The survivors of the Earth expedition had brought back more than just stories. They had brought back proof that in a galaxy of protected, controlled, safe civilizations, there was one species that had learned to thrive in chaos. The humans were no longer asking to join galactic civilization. Galactic civilization was asking to learn from them, and Earth, the death world that had been mocked and dismissed, had become the place every species wanted as an ally. Not because Humans were violent or aggressive, but because they were the only ones who had learned the universe's hardest lesson, how to turn hell into home, the survivors barely lived to tell the tale. But the tale they told changed everything, forever.